Bitcoin climbing back above $93,000, hitting its highest level in 2 weeks. Been a rough run, though, since hitting that all-time high back in October, and a key underlying factor heading into the new year, the regulatory backdrop. Joining me now is Paul Graywall, Coinbase Chief Legal Officer. Paul, it is great to see you. We've got a lot of crypto news to cover, Paul, and you are just the man to talk about it. Well, let's start with your boss, Paul. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong. He's at the Deal Book Conference today, Paul. You saw this. He says he hopes for a Senate vote soon on the Clarity Act. Let's start there, Paul. Remind us what the Clarity Act is all about and what it would mean, Paul, for Coinbase, for your business, for the broader industry.
Well, it's great to be here. The Senate is considering their version of the Clarity Act. And what the Clarity Act, which passed the House early this year, would provide for the first time is a true market structure for crypto here in the United States. Now, earlier in the year, Congress passed and the president signed a bill regarding stablecoins, which is an important first step in providing clarity and certainty under the law for crypto and digital assets. But it's really time, it's essential that Congress finish the job. And that's what it will do when the Senate finally passes market structure legislation in short order and the president signs it.
Hey guys, welcome to the video. This is Justin Paul. And today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. And it looks like Bitcoin is on the way to having, a real regulatory law put in place, guidelines and policies behind Bitcoin. This right here is the chief legal officer for Coinbase, one of the biggest platforms, that you can go and buy Bitcoin and hold Bitcoin or move Bitcoin on. And I think it's a very, very important first step with, it getting some type of, regulatory, law about it, because it's going to allow for people who are kind of skeptical to use it, to get a better understanding and have safeguards in place for if they do decide to get into it. And it also allow for wide adoption of using cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin within everything from retail to the financial institutions, and it's starting to widen as far as being adapted and stuff like that. And I know in October it was around like over 100K, and as they record this video was around 90K. But right now at the current moment it's around 89, a little over 89K. But it's still up 83% over the year. And I do think it's a great thing as far as them adopting this and allowing for people to have like some type of security and some type of safety as far as being able to get into the market of cryptocurrency. And this is going to open the door for other cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum and Solana. And like I said, I do think it's a great thing because with blockchain technology, you can build a lot of things on it, such as apps and games, social media platforms, you name it. It can be built on blockchain, and what they were saying is Web3, which is, a newer technology, a new iteration of the internet. And it's going to open up a lot in the market and create a lot of jobs. And a lot of people will be able to, get invested and, have that safety behind them as far as it being, as far as it having some type of stability with having regulations. So let's let the video continue here.
Paul, you mentioned stable coins there. Now, Brian Armstrong also did talk about that. He said banks are exploring stable coins after Congress passed the Genius Act. I'm curious, Paul, what does that mean, do you think, for the adoption curve?
Well, there's no question that traditional financial institutions, including banks, now understand very well the power and the potential of stablecoins to bring transformation to the financial services industry. And what it will mean, of course, is greater adoption, greater utilization and improved efficiency throughout the financial system. We are pleased to see banks finally wake up to the realization that it's time for innovation in the way we move money around on the internet, and we're delighted to have them as partners in this space, and look forward to their full participation.
Yeah, so it's great, like I said, for early adopters, and again for people who are very, very new to it, that the banks are starting to come along, and it is time for innovation because you know you want to have some type of transparency, and that's one thing that cryptocurrency does provide, because you can go and see all the transactions and how they're moving, who accepted the transactions, and it's just a lot of details that come along with that, and it's just going to provide more options for people to be able to either get into investing, or being able to go and pay for things using the cryptocurrency. So it's going to be very interesting to see what becomes of the adoption of Bitcoin, and how it's going to be regulated, and then how the big brother of cryptocurrency is going to open the door for the other cryptocurrencies that are more, they're more they're more affordable for people to kind of get in and start investing in, because even if you can't pay 89K to hold one Bitcoin, maybe you can dollar cost average and pay a couple thousand to own something like Ethereum or Solana, or any other cryptocurrency that you may do your research on and may be interested in using, to have on your platforms, or for just regular people who just want to say, hey, I want to put my money into this, and see where it takes me.
Now, Paul, it wasn't just Brian Armstrong, your colleague at Deal, but we had Larry Fink there too. Here's another big name. He said Bitcoin, that was interesting, he said Bitcoin remains heavily influenced, Mr. Fink says, by leveraged players. And I'm curious what you make of that, Paul. I mean, how much risk does leverage sort of still pose here? And how does Coinbase mitigate that?
Well, Coinbase has provided access to Bitcoin for millions of Americans, really going back to the earliest days of crypto. But it's a market like any other market that evolves with time, and it's natural to expect that individuals who may have been less familiar or even less comfortable custodying their own Bitcoin and holding it in their own wallets would want to rely upon intermediaries of all types in order to fully participate and finally participate in this market. We are seeing leverage and additional intermediaries relying upon leverage introduce new options for consumers to participate in the Bitcoin revolution. And that, of course, will require there to be new standards, new requirements, and new safeguards put in place. But we think that the market structure legislation is key to facilitating that. It will define for the first time which assets are subject to the securities laws of the U.S. and which assets fall outside of those laws. And we think that concerns regarding leverage and many others are best addressed by Congress and the agencies charged with writing rules once Congress acts.
Switching gears, Paul, another big headline in your world, you saw this one. Vanguard will now allow crypto ETFs on its platform. Curious, Paul, what did you make of that headline? What does it perhaps signal to you more broadly about crypto as an asset class? Why do you think, Paul, Vanguard did an about face there?
Well, Vanguard, like many others, I think initially was skeptical of the power and the potential of crypto to fundamentally transform the financial system and financial institutions that operate within it. And yet I think it's finally become clear to all skeptics that millions and millions of Americans want crypto in their financial future and want real alternatives to a traditional system that has excluded many of them for far too long. And so if skeptics, at least initial skeptics, are finally waking up to that realization and eager to join the party, we say welcome.
So, as you just heard, Vanguard, which is one of the biggest investment and retirement firms that's in America, which I do have an involvement with Vanguard. So I'm happy to hear that they're looking to adopt it, and it's going to open up my investment options, as well as other Vanguard users investment options into it. And like he was just saying, it's going to make it more available for a lot of people. So that means um, ETFs. So the price of the ETF is not going to be as much as it would actually be to actually have a full Bitcoin. So that does open it up for a lot of people who really missed the boat on getting into Bitcoin. And again, this is going to be a snowball effect because the regulations is going to lay out the rules and you know what is in and what is out as far as crypto, and making it a legit asset class, as he was just saying. And of course there's going to be people who already are heavily invested in Bitcoin, but once they make ETFs and stuff like that that you can start putting your money into, and it's going to be affected by the pricing of Bitcoin and how it's adopted, then I think it's going to be a great thing for everyone who's looking to get in on this new innovation. And in my opinion, it's still in its infancy. And, the time is now to kind of get yourself familiarized with it. It's going to bring, like I said, a lot of new jobs and stuff like that, as far as like security, development, and, just players in this industry who are, who may be knowledgeable about it and stuff like that. So I'm happy to see that it's starting to really seriously get a look as far as regulations, and it's very interesting that this is happening at the end of the first, coming up on the first year of our president's administration here. So um, you know, we can only go up from here. And you never want to really be scared of change and scared of innovation. You really want to be flexible and adaptable to change, and that is what really builds wealth within our system here in America, is being open and being adaptable. So we'll see what becomes of this. All of this is really great news to those of us who are very interested in this, and I do a lot of research, and I kind of keep my eyes and ears open to the news of cryptocurrency. So we'll see what's going on. Even the U.S., we have invested in Bitcoin, and the president does have his own cryptocurrency and things like that. So some pretty cool stuff, yo. Some pretty cool stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and close out this video. Very, very interesting topic. I mean, they talked for a while, so I could keep this video going for 30 minutes plus, but I'm gonna just keep it short here. And we'll come back with more information as far as Bitcoin and anything, financial that I find of interest. Again, if you like my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Guys, I did get over 100 subscribers, so I can't really say enough how much I appreciate you guys for subscribing to my channel. I promise, I'm gonna keep going and try to keep bringing interesting subjects to you guys, and just give my unfiltered opinion on everything, really, and just my perspective of how I see stuff. So I really do appreciate you guys for subscribing, and make sure that you hit a like for the algorithm, so that we can also get others within our community. And of course, comment, because I love to see the comments. I love to respond and just see what people are thinking. And again, this is Justin Paul. Peace.